invincible backflip. He's got some cool abilities, and because of this, the game is even more out to get Arthur than ever. Because of that, now you have some cool abilities, and because of this, the game is even more out to get Arthur. It also has the same resolution of the Wonder Swan. See what it is? Now you have some cool abilities, and because of this, the game is even more. It's a complete overhaul.
Gotcha, gotcha. And these new abilities, does the game still feel very much like a traditional Ghosts and Goblins, or is it something different?
It does, it does. I consider it like it is one of the games in the main series. Like, it has that spirit. It's there, for sure.
Ah, that's excellent. So you said it was a port of the Wonder Swan version of Ghosts and Goblins. I believe you run that as well.
I've only done a casual playthrough, but people kept asking me how much was the same from the Wonder Swan to the PC version, and I had to play it. It's a good game. I did enjoy it quite a bit, but Arthur's abilities are really limited in that version.
Definitely a solid series. You know, I think a lot of people know the Ghosts and Goblin games as like a really terrifyingly hard series almost, you know, that brutal arcade difficulty. Does this game stack up like that, and is there any particular boss or area that you're kind of worried about for the run?
So this run is going to be one loop only. It actually gets the true ending. Most G&G games have 2 loops that's required to complete the game, but not this game. However, it offers what's called the Ultimate Challenge, and this is the game's 2nd loop. And this Ultimate Challenge is still trying to be finished to this day, actually. We've been trying to beat it for months, and we can't get through it. So yes, it does offer an insane challenge, but we won't be seeing that run, that exact run today.
Probably for the best if no one's managed to finish it yet.
Yes, yes.
So just, you know, a general series question for you. What's your favorite item throughout the series?
Psycho Cannon from Ghouls and Ghosts.
All right, that's...
Or no, sorry, Firewater. Yeah, the Firewater.
Firewater.
Because I do Firewater runs, and it's pretty fun. All right, both of them. They're both good.
You can have 2. We're going to take a few questions from social media here.
Okay, great.
So, from Penier, at Penier Games, the Ghosts series is known for the difficulty. Is this a reason you chose to speedrun it?
Yeah, I like difficult games. Pretty simply put there. I like to show off that these games can be beaten, and people should just try them out. Yeah. Pretty much the main reason there.
Definitely, definitely. Sometimes the harder it is to beat the game, the better the reward can be. Here's a 2-part, just fun one from Noisty and Dianar Mitchell. What would you rather be, a ghost or a demon, and which is scarier?
Ghosts, you can go through people and envelop them. Demons will probably kill people. Do I want to kill people? I don't know about that, so I'm going to have to go with the ghost.
Definitely. Much spookier, too, in my opinion.
Kind of, you know, freestyle answer that, you know.
Oh, and final question here. What got you into running the game?
People were just kind of mentioning this Ghosts and Demons to me occasionally. It's been in development for 7 years, and people are kind of mentioning it to me every now and then. And eventually, I did finally try it out. And once I tried it, I pretty much just got hooked right away. Just kind of people nagging me to play it. That's about it.
All right, sounds good. Now, before we throw it back to the host, I want to give you 10 seconds. Give me your elevator pitch. Ghosts and Demons is coming up in just a few runs here. Tell the people at home why they need to stay awake and watch it tonight.
You got to see that gold armor. You got to see some DuckTales-esque sword pogos. You got to see Satan taking the princess out of the graveyard, and furthermore, I don't know. That's it. 10 seconds is up.
I'm going to stay up and watch it for that classic Ghosts and Goblins action for sure.
Thank you.
You guys should too. And with that, we're going to go ahead and throw it back to our host as we get ready for the next run. So, you come here often?
My first time at the interview station.
Alrighty, so I'm Darth Chelsea. I'll be with you guys for the next couple of runs at Summer Games Done Quick 2017. We still have so many donations coming in for that last Might and Magic run. Anonymous donated $50 saying, "Best Might and Magic game, so excited." And Wowder donated $25. Greetings from the Netherlands. Long time watcher, but first time donator. Good luck to the runners, and of course, kill the animals. And we're ready to go, so we will be over to, excuse me. And we'll head over to Ghost King for E's Origin.
Excellent.
So we will not be doing this character.
Really? Are you sure?
No. I'm pretty sure you want the middle guy. The middle guy. He looks cool, right?
No.
No. Okay.
Alrighty. So before we begin, I want to do a quick couch roll call.
Yeah, sure.
I'm Spoody Biscuit. I used to run this game.
I'm Bowie the Hero. I've provided commentary for Ghost on this game before at marathons.
I'm Matty Ice. I played this game a couple times.
And behind me we have Kenny for moral support. So looks like I'm about ready. I'm about ready to go whenever. We good? Alrighty. So when I say go, 3, 2, 1, and go.
So right off the bat, we've got like a 2.5-minute mandatory cutscene.
This just kind of introduces you to the story of this game. So for anyone unfamiliar with the East series, this is a prequel to the first game in the series, which is East 1. This is a very long-running series. This is actually celebrating its 30th anniversary this year and is actually older than Final Fantasy, believe it or not. So this is a top-down action-ish.
It's like isometric, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Something like that.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, action RPG with a lot of movement and interesting tech and glitches. I personally really enjoy this run a lot, and I enjoy this series a lot for a lot of its combat. So the story here is there's these two characters, Rhea and Fina. They're two goddesses, and they have found a mysterious sword on the ground, which belongs to the character that we will be playing as. His name is Toll. He is a gray-haired demon human who sold his soul. I like to liken him to Dante from the Devil May Cry series meets Wolverine.
In terms of like timeline, this is about 100 years before the first game, so there's a big kind of bridge between the two. But this kind of like sets up everything for what the East series eventually kind of goes on towards. And I believe the only game in this series that doesn't directly involve Adol, but as a kind of main kind of part because it's so far in the past that he's not obviously around.
Adol's not alive yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the setup here is we are joined by the other bad guys. Toll is a bit more of an anti-hero or anti-villain, at least at the start, in that he's kind of just in it for his own objective, which is power. He joined these guys after his mentor, whose name is Saul Tova, was killed in battle.
Yeah.
And now he's just kind of on a power hunt. So,
just quickly, it should be noted that this is an unlockable character. The first two characters you play are Hugo and Unica, and they kind of play on the goodies side, let's say, in inverted commas. So this is the bad side of it of the overall story.
yeah, so you'll see in the category it's any % Toll EX. EX is actually a unlockable mode that you can get by beating the game with all characters and then doing an arcade mode to get through enough points. I'll explain the differences between Toll and Toll EX, but it makes the run about 7.5 minutes shorter in a nutshell. So we're getting into our first battle here, kind of a basic combat tutorial, which we're going to break very quickly. Okay.
Go for it.
Alrighty, so what I have just done is I clipped out of the boundaries of the arena, and this sets Toll's X and Y coordinates to the north end of the screen, which makes this cutscene really funny because Zava, the sorceress here, who kind of doesn't trust us, is off looking at him at the top of the room and walks to the center of the room to hand us a crystal. The crystal is an important key item. It lets us teleport to these warp statues, which you will be you fast travel very quickly.
And yeah, of course, it's also worth noting that clipping out of bounds and getting that position doesn't just make the cutscene goofy, it puts you closer to where you need to be. So it saves like a second or so.
We're going to see something, basically there's going to be a lot of mechanical abuses, a variety of different skills that are going to allow us to kind of clip out of bounds, skip a lot of either particular boss triggers or doors themselves. Ghost always likes to ask the question when it comes to this run, what are doors? What are keys? We'll keep you guessing with that one. So the basic movement, you'll see this lunge being used to kind of make our way across. It obviously does do an attack as well. And then obviously Ghost is going to try and get all the enemies together in one kind of area and then go ham on the attacks by doing as many kind of combo cancelling as he can to get like really, really rapid attack, nice and fast. By defeating all these enemies, this chest will become available and we'll get I can't remember the name. The Cerulean Flabellum. Yeah, Cerulean Flabellum, which gives Toll access to the skill called Godspeed. Now, when you use this in X mode, you can actually combine it with that lunge to do what's called the God Lunge. And I'm pretty sure that the chaps to my side will say this is a ridiculously good skill because you can see just how far you can slide doing this.
Kill that guy to reach level 2. Level scaling in this game is very, how do I put it, exponential. One level up can be the difference between whether a boss fight takes 2 minutes or 10. So a lot of this game's routing is based on what level we are at each particular point in the game.
Yeah, it should be noted also that the lungeability reduces the defense of enemies, making them obviously easier to kill.
Yeah, that's going to be really important in a room coming up in a few minutes or so. There's a mandatory mob that he has to kill that's going to have tons of defense, but that'll make it a lot easier.
Yeah, so we just got sucked into a hole there. We need to go through that room in order to proceed. So we need to find a way through, which we will shorten that a little bit. So we're coming up on one of the first neat little tricks. I would not call this a glitch per se, but it's pretty interesting. This one was found by an Italian runner by the name of Alactorn, which shout outs to the East community. I got that first try. It never happens first try.
Yeah, it's worth noting that yeah, Godspeed. Ideally, you want to be not moving at all, not pushing your movement, because you go a little faster then. But when you're not actively moving in a direction, the game will just make you auto-target the nearest enemy. So those teleporting mages in those arena can just randomly ruin that jump by getting in range of you and making you dash in completely the wrong direction.
So we didn't really talk about it, but I just clipped through a door. The thing that makes Godspeed broken is not just how fast it makes you move, but also how, depending on your angle, you can clip through a ton of things, because there's a brief moment in the animation where Toll has no hit detection. So you kind of just sort of warp behind certain doors. And we will be abusing this a lot in this run. For the most part, though, it doesn't skip a whole lot of important content. It mostly just skips cutscenes and passages where we would just be ignoring enemies anyway.
I mean, there are a lot of doors that kind of have these big red barriers that you need to defeat these glowing red enemies, and they normally have a much higher defense and HP value, and just by being able to get through the door, we don't have to kill them and defeat them, which saves a lot of time as well.
Yeah, so we don't actually need the key that we just picked up in that chest. We just need it to feed the adorable little creature called a Rue. It gives us an item called Cleary Ore, which upgrades our offense, because like I said, this game's damage formula is a little ridiculous. Without that Cleary Ore, I would not be able to complete this run nearly as fast as I currently am.
So yeah, coming up is that encounter we were talking about, where he's really going to have to utilize the lunge attacks to try and get some defense drops. In addition, he's going to be using jump attacks. He's going to try and get these bats to go up in the air and use jump attacks, because jump attacks do a ton more damage than any ground-based attacks. And he's also kind of under-leveled according to the game standards for fighting these. So ground attacks just do a whole bunch of 1 damage slashes. It would take forever. These bats are playing pretty nice right now.
Not bad for them.
They never play nice.
Bats are jerks. Bats are always jerks.
For anyone who's kind of familiar with the RPG speedrunning community, birds are jerks, or anything that flies is a jerk, is the general kind of consensus, especially in action RPGs. It's a lot worse.
All right, so yeah, with the bats down, he gets the ability to go into demon form, which gives you this really nice red text in your dialogue boxes that we'll be seeing right here.
It also makes it so that you take half damage. Your attack combo is a little bit different. And it also allows us to use the ability called Boost, which is the incentive that everyone graciously donated for. Again, thank you everyone for doing that.
Burst, right?
Yeah, Burst.
Burst, right. Boost is the name of the transformation. They sound similar. It's 3:30 a.m. I think we've all been up a little.
Oh yeah, so coming up here is a really huge skip. yeah, we're just gonna clip right through this barrier, hopefully.
Yeah, I can fail this for. I have to watch my boost meter because if I run out, I get sucked into the room below. And we got it third try. That's actually excellent.
Yeah, so what you're supposed to do there is kill the 4 turrets, and it like shuts off the trap, and that also triggers a cutscene with one of the other game's playable characters, Unica. It's really lengthy. You know, it takes a while. But thankfully, thanks to the broken power of Godspeed and God lunging, you know, again, doors, barriers, walls, all just kind of suggestions.
It should be noted as well that that is also why Ghost King prefers to use keyboard and mouse controls, because there are specific pixels that he'll place the mouse at or the mouse cursor to know exactly kind of what angle he's getting on his God lunge when he is going through doors. Some runners, I believe yourself, Matty, I've got a stutter, sorry. Okay. Matty, is that you actually use controller because you're a bit more comfortable with it?
Yeah, I did back when I played.
All right, took a few tries to split past this barrier. Again, God Lunge allows us to make skips that originally were not actually possible for many years.
Okay, so we're coming up on the, well, the second boss. We actually skipped the first boss entirely. You couldn't even tell because it just looked like we were kind of running through the game normally, other than the door clipping, obviously. But so yeah, this is actually the second boss, but the first boss we'll be fighting. He's Velgunder.
It's the first major boss of the game.
Ideally, you're going to kill this in 4 cycles, but after the first phase, you just got to wail on his face. He'll get stunned, then you climb up the arms and hit his head for a while, and you're like set to only be able to deal 1/4 of his health right here every time you go up there. But he'll start dropping these little bugs that you'll be seeing that leave these green slime trails. Those green slime trails have slippery properties, which the slippery floor physics in this game are one of the worst things. If you just touch it, you'll like slide all over the place. You'll completely lose control, and that can make you miss a cycle. Because he has this attack where he inhales, and you just like have to run away.
Like there.
But when he does it, like yeah, here it comes. But thankfully interrupts it, gets the damage done. When he inhales, he'll eat all the bugs on the floor and recover health and add an extra cycle to the fight, so you really don't want that.
Yeah, the slippery floor is really good for going fast, but it's also very hard to like cancel the momentum in another direction, so you don't really have the opportunity to stop on a dime.
Ooh, nice. Okay, interrupted it there, and that should be Velgunder.
Yep.
Nice.
This is going really well
yeah,
so far.
really close on that last cycle, but well done.
The other thing you might have noticed is he spent a few seconds grinding in one of the rooms right before the boss area. The interesting thing about XP in this game is as you build up a hit combo, you get up to about double XP per kill. Keeping that combo is really important for making sure that we get maximum XP out of every enemy we kill.
And that actually extends to other things as well. So by hitting enemies generally, as Matty said, you'll get an experience buff. But also when you defeat certain like regular mobs, they'll drop upgrades to your defense, your attack, and your other stats. And we'll be basically trying to collect a certain bonus going into certain fights, obviously to help deal damage before that bonus runs out. You'll see all of that on the bottom left, just above the HP screen. You'll just see kind of the multiplication it's got, and then the timer it has until that buff runs out.
Yeah, basically you're wanting to see, like, there's 4 bars over there. The bottom one is the orange bar, which is your hit combo. The higher that is, the more experience you get from enemies, up to a 1.99 multiplier. Then there's the yellow bar, which is your MP regeneration rate. Pretty self-explanatory why that's great. More MP regeneration means more spamming magic, spamming Godspeed, which lets us go fast. Blue is defense. We don't really care about that because we're playing on easy difficulty. Damage output from enemies for the most part is pretty low, and we use that to just kind of skip most armor upgrades. Like towards the kind of like late middle game, the lack of armor kind of starts to catch up with us, and enemies start doing reasonable amounts of damage again. And then yeah, the top bar is the red bar. That's the strength boost. And yeah, we've got another anime cutscene here. I actually submitted this game as my first GDQ submission a few years back, and it got declined. They pretty much told me there was too much anime. So
Toll EX kind of gets rid. It kind of skips a bit more of the anime.
So yeah, the Unica version has a lot more cutscenes.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of what's going on here, it's kind of a flashback to Toll's life before he kind of sold his soul to the demons, and he does have this luscious blonde hair, as you see here, and was obviously a friend and guard of the goddesses Fina and Rhea. Fina's got the longer hair and the parting, and Rhea's got the bangs and the shorter hair. Just in case you care about that kind of stuff.
Would this be a good time for some donations?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. We have quite a few. Salty Bet donated $30, saying best of luck to Ghost King from the Salty Bet Night Crew. Donation towards Runner's Choice.
So runner's choice will be Glenn for Frog.
Yes, my boy.
I want to make that one interesting. So the last cutscene that played before this, there is a woman by the name of Epona, no Zelda relation, she is a bigger role in other character stories. And here, she just appears in a couple of cutscenes. And she tells us that a mysterious person who looks a lot like Toll is in the tower. And Toll's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Toll's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And we'll get into where that comes from.
So Silver Bracelet here gives you dashing speed. Beforehand, we've enabled the always dash option, so he doesn't even need to do anything after picking it up. He's just already dashing, and you might notice like a slight increase in his general movement speed here.
Yeah,
so.
you see the little puffs of dirt coming off from under him.
Yeah, that's how you know he's going fast.
So you'll also notice that I am infinitely attacking enemies with the same attack. If you mash left click and your attack button, you can repeat the same hit of the combo over and over again. We refer to this as combo canceling. And this also thankfully preserves momentum. The one trick to it, though, however, is it is very easy to end up getting stuck on the wrong attack, and then you actually lose damage per second. Like there. When in boost, Toll's third attack is the one we want to mash, and outside of boost, we want to mash the first one.
Yeah, amazingly enough, in one of the other character speedruns, Unica combo canceling is actually in the early game the fastest way for her to move. So you just kind of do this weird like hop forward and axe swing like through the entire first area. And if you're playing optimally, it's really annoying to keep up though.
So I believe that's just a safety strat by picking up the black chain there. Just a little bit of extra defense for Toll, just to kind of mitigate a bit more of that damage as we hit mid to late game.
Yeah, I think mostly specifically for the next boss.
Yeah, the next boss
it helps obviously for the rest of them as well into the mid game.
Next boss is pretty much the run killer. Like you reset a lot here. It used to be a lot worse. Newer strats make it a little better. Oh yeah, so we mentioned before the power-ups. It's pretty important that we get in here with as much of a strength boost as we can. He's currently at the max boost of strength +5, but he didn't get many drops
towards
recently.
The end, yeah.
Basically, whenever you pick up a one of those stat upgrades from an enemy, it resets the timer on it to max. So you want to hopefully get a strength drop from the last enemy before you come in here, but he didn't get one for a while, so he's only going to have that strength boost for a little bit at the start of this fight.
Yeah, so this is Hugo. He's Toll's little brat brother.
Is that a fact, Ghost?
I'll explain that joke later. So I'm going to actually need serious time for this fight because this fight requires more focus than anything else in the run. Despite it being one of the simplest strategies out there.
Can I jump in with some more donations?
Wait a second, please.
Sure.
Ah, darn. Okay, that went fairly well. Losing the strength debuff there really stinks. Alright, want to avoid the laser.
Nice.
Watch my health.
Good fight, good fight.
Alright. So we're just going to see him teleport off with his friends. They're not really that important in the story, so feel free to go ahead and read a couple of donations.
Awesome. So, Toddy donated $100. Hello from Australia. Toddy here. Always been a fan of this series and stoked to see E's Origin run at a GDQ event. Best of luck to you, Ghost King. Can't wait to see you totally, definitely fight. Oh, I'm going to mispronounce this. I'm so sorry. Klonskar to complete with no tricks whatsoever.
I think I went into his stream once and showed him a trick in this game. At least I'm thinking that's the same person. So that's the story behind that. To briefly explain the fact joke, Toll and Hugo's last name is Fact. There you go. I call Toll the fun fact because Hugo is boring. And so this is Mr. Cutscene himself, Kishgal. He tries so hard to be important to the story of this game, but
He basically just comes in to be edgy and be all like, I want to fight strong opponents. I only care about strong people. And then he leaves. And he does that like 4 times.
He's
throughout
Goku.
the game.
I matter, and off he goes.
He's just Goku.
Yeah, so yeah, fun little thing about the last fight. There's actually a pretty crazy like IL time attack strat, which we don't see here. Hugo's barrier can inflict the status heavy, which greatly reduces your jump height and movement speed. And as we mentioned earlier, jump attacks do more damage, so you can intentionally get heavied, and that makes all of your jump attacks land because you don't jump past his head. So, but that's a really crazy strat, and it's really unreliable, so you only see that in like time attack runs.
It's actually really good timing you mentioned that regarding, being able to jump higher and move faster. So you'll see wherever possible, Ghost King will basically make use of a skill called wall running. So basically, if you run with a character at the certain angle on the right-hand side, if their right-hand side is against the wall, that basically you get a higher jump, and you'll move faster as well. So wherever ever possible, Ghost will be moving with a certain angle on the right-hand wall, wherever he's going.
And you can actually skip activating that elevator there by like jumping and god speeding off the ledge to the left of it, but it's pretty precise. Ghost King kind of missed the setup, so
yeah, I had an 8. It ate my input, which happens when you let go of. Okay, I want to equip this.
Oh, yeah.
We picked this up to make sure that we don't drown and progress on in the area. So you can make that jump, but if you let go of the mouse too soon, it won't register a Godspeed input, and you'll just jump attack and look like an idiot.
So yeah, the Water Dragon scales are what we got as a reward for beating Hugo, along with another Claria ore. Thankfully, unlike the other 2 characters, Toll just applies new Claria ore upgrades automatically. It's a really easy way to lose runs on Unica, is to pick up a Claria ore and then forget to go back to base camp to apply it.
Yep, and we are never going to let Tsuki live that one down. So Tsuki had the world record in Unica any % for a long time. Shoutouts to Tsuki Baka. He's helped a lot of people with this community, and learning this game. Helped me a lot and offered a lot of words of encouragement. Great guy.
But yeah, the kind of weird thing about the Water Dragon scales is, yeah, like it gives you extra oxygen for these water segments, which you would not be able to make it through pretty much any of this without it. But for some reason, it isn't just like a passive buff. You have to have the item selected in your item menu, and it's not technically a piece of equipment. It's just an item that like passively sits there. So there's actually a bit of a silly kind of trap in that sense, where you can really easily just do something else in your item menu and unselect the Water Dragon scales while you're underwater and almost instantly drown.
Yeah, there's a few things in this game that we call the initiation for new runners of this game, and every new runner will die to drowning at least once, and then they will learn to make sure that they remember the Water Dragon scales.
So like right here,
specifically right here.
Yeah, you use the crystal to warp back, and that selects the crystal in the inventory and deselects the Water Dragon scales. So yeah, since we're talking about it, Ghost King's just making sure right now, before he even sees any water, to get those re-equipped. Because, yeah, once you get to the deep water, your oxygen meter will, without those scales equipped, will, deplete in 5 seconds. It's ridiculous. The game even, I think almost everyone dies to this in the casual playthrough. Coming up in the room, there's a chest to the side that has a, what's it called, a
Panacea.
Panacea that gives you a negligible amount of additional health.
Yeah, it gives you 2 extra max HP. So it's pretty common to find it and just go, oh, well, I should just use that right away. And then using it deselects the Water Dragon scales and you just drown. And it's well, okay.
And the amount of air it gives you is actually quite significant. It'll just literally just drop to nothingness as soon as you take it off, or it just disappears so quickly.
Yeah, before we get to the next boss, you might notice he's using a new skill. He picked up in the deep water, he picked up what's called 11 Strike Warhammer. It gives you access to the Thunder skill. In this case, Toll's is a kind of a frontal thrust attack, which does high damage.
Yeah, that's also why we picked up the Rotafruit a little bit earlier to feed this second Rue. What that will do is get me a Topaz, which you saw me grab an Emerald earlier. Those upgrade our magic spells, and in the case of Thunderclaw, it allows me to charge it and do a sort of giant orb of energy that will suck enemies in and do a lot of area of effect damage.
Yeah, the first gem of every type allows you to use the charged version.
Yeah, jumps after that are pretty unnecessary. I'm trying to remember like what they even exactly do because
They just increase the damage.
Yeah,
That's all.
So again, skipping those enemies just by getting the clip through the door. This fight is quite an interesting one. So this is our centipede. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Tilgur.
So basically, he will start by crawling on this wall, and we're gonna Ghost's gonna try and use the charge Levin Strike to basically just get as much hit as he can on some of the back scales, because he wants to maybe make his way from the front to the back and then basically finish it off before he gets a chance to do this big skill where he curls into a wheel and then spins to win.
Yep, spin to win, Wheel of Fun.
Yeah.
The ideal situation is what we call a 0 spin.
We'll see if we can get it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, if he starts that spin, then it's pretty RNG, like how long it'll take to kill him then, because he'll like slow down and turn around multiple times, and
oh my god,
it's up.
Not good.
Ooh, yeah.
So he'll start basically coiling up into the circle when he basically gets towards the end of his 8 feet.
Yeah, here it goes.
So here it goes. We're going to hopefully get to the end of his tail and then defeat him on the head.
Nice.
Perfect.
But yeah, if you let that attack go on, he'll just roll around the arena for like 10 seconds at a time, and then he'll slow down and turn around. And when he slows down, it's totally up to RNG if his head is anywhere accessible. It can be way at the top where you can't even touch it. Worst
the
case,
head is the only part you can damage.
Yeah, worst case, he like rolls around the arena 3 times before finally just uncurling and walking around again, and it wastes like a full minute.
Which is great.
Yeah, so we got another cutscene here. Feel free to go ahead and read off some donations.
Awesome, I will do exactly that. So, Fuzzy Commando donated $502. This is... Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, this is Fuzzy Commando of the 502 crew. Thanks to these late-night warriors providing such excellent commentary on games I've never seen. Shout-outs to Panda, Meowth, Letters, EDR, Kelladros, and of course, Pixels.
So, just a brief note, all of these cutscenes can be advanced by holding down the jump button. So that's, you literally can just put a paperweight on your keyboard and just like go get a cup of tea or something.
I like this. A cup of tea.
All right, so next up is Guilty Fire, which is one of my favorite themes in the game. So let's just listen to the music for a moment, shall we?
Good old Scarlet Tempest.
It is really good.
A lot of rocking music in this game.
Play another clip here. Normally you have to go to the left and collect the Red Moon Crest, but again, yeah, you guys know the drill by now.
We can just skip
Walls are
things,
no
yeah.
obstacle for a speedrunner.
And also, the reason we were also able to skip it is because of a different property that the EX version of Toll's playthrough allows. Now, Godspeed, during the EX playthrough, actually has a fire property attached to it, which is very, very strange why they added it. But basically, in this room, you need to normally pick up the I can't remember the name of it.
It's
the
Inferno skill. Yeah, it's actually
Crimson
that.
Lotus Blade.
Crimson Lotus Blade. Yeah, Crimson Lotus.
It's
Lotus
through.
Blade.
Yeah, it's through that door right in this room.
It's also behind a boss.
Yeah. So we skip the boss, we skip the cutscene. It's what, about 5 minutes, I think it is?
7 and a half.
A lot of time.
Even
Yeah.
more. But yeah, because we can just use Godspeed, we can light these torches and not need to get the Lotus Blade at all.
Which is really good because the boss you have to fight is Shion. In the earlier days of this run, like, and if you do non-EX runs, you have to fight him. And in the early days of this category, he was like the second run killer. He was just as bad as Hugo. I happened to stumble completely accidentally upon a glitch which made fighting him a lot easier. But obviously we won't be seeing that. We will be seeing it in the later boss, though. I won't spoil it. You'll see it when we get there.
It's fun.
Oops. Yeah, it's interesting that this game is actually, with the Toll version, is actually completed without getting access to all the skills. You won't be using the fire skill at all in this run.
Yeah, there are a few other points in which it would be necessary for story purposes. However, because of other glitches, we can get past that. Certain strategies in the normal version of the run require Inferno, but we will be doing alternatives to those. And I think that's kind of what really makes this route really start to differ from regular Toll any percent.
All right, so yeah, coming up here, we're going to have a short cutscene where Toll encounters Unica, who he was supposed to meet like way back in the beginning, but we skipped her through that that barrier clip with that big like black hole portal. So yeah, we're gonna save her from the Devil's Corridor.
And we're gonna also give her a Lotus Blade, which we never actually picked up.
And also look at a Harmonica that we never picked up because both of those are locked behind that boss we were just talking about that we skipped.
Just as like a small lore thing, the Crimson Lotus Blade was the weapon of Unica's father, Tova, General Tova.
Yeah, and Sol Tova was actually, like I said, Toel's mentor. Their first encounter is a little weird. He kind of leads her to believe that he was the one that killed him, that Toel killed Sol, but it's not the case at all. It was actually Kishgal, spoiler warning, which you would know this because if you unlocked Toel, you already played through Unica or Hugo's story and know this.
Yeah, and Toel has like pretty much no reason to lead Unica to believe this. He just does it because.
He does it because he feels like it.
Yeah.
He's a demon, that's why, and demons do bad things.
Oh yeah, so right here, going out of his way to pick up the Ring of Ease. It's not really a firm like time save or loss to grab it. It's an accessory that just reduces MP usage by a little bit.
It makes this game a little bit easier.
Did you really need to make
that? Yeah, the Ring
of
Ease.
Yeah. And, we're in the Devil's Corridor area. You basically usually take 7, 8, 9 damage a tick or something like that.
So okay, yeah.
But with Toel's boost, you actually get like an HP kind of vamp effect where you don't take any. You also don't take like any damage in this room.
You were probably wondering why he was bothering with those flashing red enemies, because like we talked about before, you're probably like, hey, but weren't barriers all suggestions? Why are you killing the enemies to lower the barrier? No, that's just so that Godspeed doesn't lock onto them, and they don't get in the way while you're trying to get that barrier clip, because that barrier clip is pretty precise, and if you mess it up a little bit, it actually shoves you through the floor and onto an earlier part of that big spiral ramp, and it's a pretty big time waste.
It ate my Godspeed input there, or my lunge input there. I have to double-click attack and then lunge to make it go off, which is a bit of a finicky setup. I'm taking it safe because wall running is actually hurting me on that little section there. My health is a little bit low right now. That's fine. I'm going to do a brief little grinding session here. There are not very many of those in this run, which part of that stems from the fact that we do this on the second easiest difficulty in the game, which is entirely because, first of all, initially this game had an online leaderboard that didn't have the easiest difficulty setting, and the easiest difficulty setting is called Very Easy, and you basically run that if you want to get a feel for the game, but this is where things actually start being a little bit difficult because we neglect as much as possible in terms of levels and equipment in this category.
So yeah, thankfully this little side room where there's like 5 pretty high-level enemies exist, so we're just going to be walking in and out of this room to grind up experience for a bit. Might be a good time for like a donation.
Absolutely. So Oliver139 donated $10. Thanks for running Ys Origin, my favorite childhood game. This is my first Ys game that I played. Good luck to the runner and looking forward to more Ys games in the future.
So we want to get specifically to 175 here. As I did mention difficulty, a few runners do run on higher difficulties. The main one I'd mention is Losvi. He's the Japanese runner who I believe is currently hosting the Japanese Restream for this game, so shoutouts to him. He is insane and way better than I will ever be at this video game.
Okay.
Watch his. If you think anything I'm doing here is impressive, watch his runs. It is just your mouth will hit the floor.
So yeah, we're coming up on the Guilty Fire boss here, Delaldi. As long as he executes correctly, this fight is 100% consistent. There's no RNG to it. But if he ever misses a cycle, then all bets are off. The attacks we'll see will be random. Some of them waste tons of time. So here's hoping that we don't miss any cycles.
Yeah, so we're looking to knock one hand off, does another attack, knocks the other hand off. He's going to come down with his head and bring a little bit of damage there.
Another thing you'll see me doing is I'm kind of trying to lure him to the back end of the room, and this is so when the fight ends, I'll be closer to the door to the next area.
There's also like a pretty crazy like IL strat that lets you complete the fight in fewer cycles, but it's not really viable in a run. It involves some really screwy detection, like hit detection.
Yeah, it's doable on regular Toll when you have a charged Inferno, but you don't have that here, so it's much trickier and not really worth going for in a run, because you save 6 seconds if you get it and you lose about 25 if you don't.
Being in the lava means you take damage, but because Ghost Heroes is not taking any damage at all, any hits, and being quite solid here. He'll just kind of just tank that and just do his best to get rid of the hands.
I have a lot of spare health here, so I can just take hits willy-nilly. Normally this fight, I am at much lower health, which is actually ideal because boost recovers more when you're at lower HP points.
And yeah, this should be it right here. Yeah, there we go. Perfect fight. But yeah, if you ever miss any cycles, there's a few attacks you can do. There's a huge hand sweep where you just have to wait for him to like sweep around the entire arena. There's
that was the better one.
Yeah, and then there's this satellite laser attack where he just like sits in the middle and like lasers shoot at random platforms for like 20 seconds.
That attack goes on for a long time.
But yeah, thankfully not seeing any of those. So yeah, we're coming up on the Silent Sands here after another brief encounter with Unica again.
Yeah, don't forget to get the Rotofruit.
I won't. That'll be part of the incentive. So this is the first time we're actually speaking with Unica in this particular run. There's a bit of a cutscene here where she talks to him and says, "Thank you for saving me." And Total's like, "No, I'm evil." And she's like, "You can't be evil. You're a good guy." And this is sort of the point in the story. It's actually a really charming little story. It's not particularly fleshed out, but it doesn't need to be. It carries the game along. We're only giving you the Cliff Notes version of it, and a lot ends up being skipped, so it's really hard to contextualize. But anyway, so she thanks him for saving him, and this is sort of the point where he kind of feels a change in his heart. But there's still a little bit more cutscene, and then there's going to be a fairly long cutscene afterwards. So if we got any donations or plugs, feel free to.
We definitely do. Korzik donated $20. Nice to see some ease love. Good luck with the run, Ghost King.
Shout out to Korzik. He was one of the original routers of this game a long time ago in the SDA days of 2012.
And Squishy Flan donated $200. Having grown up on Ys 3 for the SNES and only recently started playing the other Ys, I'm excited for the Ys Origin speedrun so that others can enjoy the hidden gem of an RPG. Please show that not all protagonists need blue hair. Now, where's Adol?
Not in this game.
He is a bonus character that you can unlock by getting enough SP in the arcade shop.
But if you do like Adol, Ys Oath and Felghana is also on Steam and is a remake of Ys 3.
Yeah, these games,
Very good game,
there are 4 games in this series, technically 5 on Steam, and soon to be Ys 8, which
Can't wait for.
I can't wait for. It's a bit of a different style. I liken it more to Kingdom Hearts meets God of War. But yeah, I love this series of games. They're some of the most fun I've ever had playing an action RPG, and again, this is the game that inspired me to really pick up speedrunning. I was back in 2013, I found this community, and I was, like many people, just wondering what I wanted to run for a very long time. And I came across this game when I was watching a marathon called Scrubathon, run by a good pal of ours and Bowie's by the name of El Megas. And so the runner was a guy by the name of Crush Dude Run, or he just goes by Crush now. And I thought this game looked amazing and fascinating, and I really wanted to pick it up and show it off in a marathon setting because I figured I hadn't seen anyone do it, and I figured maybe I'll learn it and be the guy to do so. So I'm actually really honored to be able to do that tonight. You got another moment for donation, by the way.
Yep, perfect. Alrighty. Delphi143 donated $20 saying, "Good luck, Ghost King, naming Robo Ernst because we love Robo Battles."
We love Robo Battles. Shout out to the custom Robo speedrunning community.
Okay,
we
did it first time.
I had way more trouble in practice with that than I care to admit.
So this room has that whole sandy area down there is like quicksand. It really slows your movement speed down and reduces your jump height. But more importantly, falling into that will spawn a bunch of enemies, and he needs to be able to do an unlocked, Godspeed, and with enemies around, Godspeed's just going to lock onto those guys and screw up that barrier clip.
This trick is pixel perfect, so I use a Windows accessibility function called mouse keys to make this work. This is a different monitor than I'm used to, so I have to kind of do this on the fly. This is a little finicky and not super perfect. Hopefully I get this.
Yeah, just as kind of an aside, allow me my old man moment here, but back in my day when we speedrun this, we didn't think clipping through doors in the Silent Sands as possible.
All right, backup strats worked.
Because those giant door frames that surround every door in here make clipping a lot harder. The setups you're going to see in here are, a lot more precise than in most other areas of the game. That was actually like, at the time I was running, it was kind of like the holy grail of East Origin toll runs to find a way to clip through Silent Sands doors. And I happened upon some ways to do it, and I was kind of like, that's it. We've found all the speed tech for this game.
Oh man, you counted your chickens way too fast.
Oh boy, I was proven so wrong.
And you saw even there, he was dealing a lot of ones to those enemies.
Reminder of the road of fruit, by the way.
Yeah, so we're going to take a detour here.
Yeah, this is for the donation incentive. We need another Rhoda fruit to unlock burst later in the game.
And this is the easiest one to go for.
Yeah. So we do obviously have the quicksand earlier that obviously just slows you down and it's hard to move in, but there is another type of sand that we're going to be seeing in the later half of the Silent Sands. Yeah. And that's it's kind of akin to the blood that kind of makes you like slide. So you kind of have this weird sliding property with
like ice physics
with the sands.
Ice physics in sands because there's no ice in this game.
Yeah, why not? But it is really cool though. You can get some great distance.
So here we're going to actually make use of the one of two instances in this category where we actually use the downward thrust. So there are 4 basic types of attacks: ground combos, an aerial attack, a lunge, and then a downward thrust. This will stun enemies, but more importantly, this allowed me to group all these guys together. So 1, 2, and dead.
Nice. Yeah, more specifically, when you're in the air, there's 2 attacks that you can do. The normal air attacks that he likes to use all the time are attacks that can be used when the character is ascending. The other one, the down stab, happens anytime you attack while the character's descending back to the ground.
So these guys are undead, so they come back to life, and they need a special way to take care of them. And hey, there's Rhea with the Black Pearl. I have not touched on what the Black Pearl is. It basically allows you to become a pirate of the Caribbean.
And what does it do in the real story?
It's basically a dark, powerful MacGuffin of extreme dark magic. And she is basically protecting it from the hands of Zava and a character you saw earlier, but we haven't really talked much about, by the name of Dallas. But the 2 of them are sort of the big bads of this game. So to kind of really touch on these 2 characters here, Rhea and Toll have a bit of a star-crossed lovers relationship going on, where they're 2 clearly madly in love beings, and Toll is just kind of showing off here, like, I've become a demon. I am not your guardian
anymore.
Look at my
red text.
Look at my red text. But at this point, she just says, they're still good inside you,
Kind of small little
thing. It's been so long since I've seen the cutscenes in this game. So she gives us the silver chimes, which allows us to kill undead. I won't be using that in this area, even though the game normally requires it, but I will be using it for one Toll EX specific thing later in the run. So because Toll, can't hurt his lover, he decides not to take her to his sort of master. I mean, it's complicated.
Just a kind of quick point out as well that yes, the item acquisition theme does sound peculiarly like a Metroid item acquisition theme.
They have both been that way for over 30 years, and nothing is changing.
It was, I guess, it was literally because I think this came out before Metroid as well. It's one of those things that it just
slightly after.
Oh, slightly after. It was a case of like they just both happen that way, and no one said a word about it, and we've just continued from there. So that was there. If you kind of jump into certain corners, you actually get a higher jump there.
That's the wall running.
It has some of the similar properties of wall running.
Yeah, jumping into corners lets you get additional height, additional fall speed, and all sorts of stuff.
But look, Ghost King, can you give us a few words about these enemies that are on the floor here?
So these are scarabs. They suck. That's all I need to say about them. You have very few iframes, invincibility frames, for those unaware, when you get hit by them. So they can just combo you to death, and it is brutal. And
they hit like trucks too.
Yes.
I think that's really what takes the cake there. Like, not only do they hit you a billion times a second, but they hit you by a billion.
I think they hit you for like 26 or 28 damage or something like that.
Yeah, it's worth noting that this game really doesn't have much by way of iframes. Like, there's like just a very brief you know, like stun animation that you're you can't take damage
you
for.
just
And
kinda
as soon as you regain control, you're pretty much eligible to take damage again. So it's really easy for damage to stack up really quickly.
This next skip here used to be fairly pixel perfect. I couldn't find the old setup, so I found my own. And everyone kind of has their own little way of doing this. My mouse sensitivity is a little high, so hopefully I can get this. Okay. I have backup strats if need be.
Yeah,
and we
nice.
got a second try. Nice.
So yeah, that clipping through that door skips an utterly pointless side trip to the to Rado's Annex, where
It's
you
not
just
pointless. You see Fina there. And
Yeah,
therefore-
It's true.
it's pointless if you don't care about the story, which you know, in this case we're speedrunning, and obviously we don't.
So we flipped through barriers, we flipped through doors. Now let's flip through walls. Inward pointing corners can be flipped through. This was again found.
Nice.
This was again
pretty
found
quick.
by a Lactorn. I haven't really mentioned a lot of the people who have helped find some of the tricks in this game. Spoody found them years back. Korzik found a lot of them. A runner by the name of Extreme Board found them. And most recently, a lot of the God lunging strats were found by Telly Yanis, a Finnish speedrunner, a really cool guy.
So here's that awful slippery physics we were talking about. It's really easy to fall off that ramp while you're there.
All right,
This
I'm
is
gonna
cool.
actually reload this room just because I want to show this off.
This is very cool.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah, nice.
So the ice physics on this
Ice physics on the sand.
ice physics. It's not really ice physics. It's just it's a lack of momentum loss. So if it were real ice, you wouldn't be able to accelerate on it because you could never get any traction. But in this case,
First
Okay,
try. Wow.
you
Okay,
can
who's-
continue accelerating infinitely.
All right, I'll
Apply for
explain this
in a
in
second.
just a second.
Nice.
All right, so I just jumped over a boss trigger because the developers of this game didn't give it a infinite upwards value. That was found by a speedrunner from a long time ago who goes by the name of Taiga Lily, and it allows us to skip boss triggers. We can actually skip 2 of them this way on Toel, and with different skips in the normal updated Steam version of the game, you can skip a 3rd one on Unica. I should mention that this is the Steam English version. The Japanese version saves time, but the Western community generally runs English. There's also an unpatched version of this game, which has an infinite jump trick that's really hard to pull off.
That one's really cool looking.
It's cool looking once, but you skip just about everything.
Yeah, it's not particularly entertaining to
You
run.
just like jump over all the walls.
Yeah, that infinite jump glitch completely dominates the run. I don't think anyone really actively runs it.
Yeah, so that boss that we skipped is annoying. I would have to grind up for him. He takes like 5 cycles to kill. There's a lot of conveyor belt physics with the sand that he's pulling you in. And he does a lot of damage because I only have armor from the second area of the game. In a normal 80% run, I would not be grabbing that armor, so I'm basically almost defenseless. And this is where enemies really start racking up the damage. So I will pick up some armor here just out of necessity.
Yeah, that boss has no way to skip cycles, and there's like 2 parts to each phase, and each phase is longer than the last one. So it's just a giant pain to fight.
This first room's a pretty big pain in the butt. Those like sliding bars, spike bars, you can take damage from them, and not just from getting hit, like getting skewered by the points.
Yeah, you can just walk into the sides of them when
like,
they're up.
as Ghost can kind of just demonstrate it there, getting knocked down by the sides of the bars. It's really annoying, and like you can accidentally wall run a bit and like you know, get a little extra distance than you expected, and just walk right into the bars and take damage and have to wait for that get up animation.
Fortunately, the enemies in this area get a lot of experience, so you're going to see a lot of level ups really quickly in this area in a few places.
Yeah, Charged Thunderclaw kills large swarms of them all at once, and they all give pretty decent experience on their own. So,
And the other thing is the boosted Charged Thunderclaw actually has a gravity wall effect too, so it will pull enemies into the center, and obviously makes it easier to kill enemies that are just slightly spread out.
This jump's a little bit tricky, and I messed it entirely. Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
there you
nice.
go. That's
It's okay if I slam into it. Well, I gotta wait for the second one here. This one's the harder one.
This is the one where you can take damage, right?
Yep.
yeah, thankfully, as long as he kind of like keeps smashing Godspeed, he
You
won't
need to
actually take
die.
damage from these spikes.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of the peculiar properties of Godspeed. You can see he's still at full health.
So now I'm losing time.
There we
but
go.
This trick looks cool, but if you mess it up once, you break even with just doing the intended strat. And anytime after that.
It's worth noting that the
button's about 5 feet away from where he started.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just to save, like, it kind of does a little cutscene where the camera pans over the spikes and shows them lowering very slowly. It's like, hey, look, you want to go this way. But even then, the button is so close that it only saves time to do those clips if you get it in the first couple tries.
This is the, oh, what the? I was not holding down
Haven't seen this room in a while.
I was not holding down there. I don't know how that happened.
He was literally just in the middle of saying that this is the easiest door to clip through as he dashes the wrong way and fails to clip through the door.
I think I locked onto something.
This door
didn't know that was possible.
Like, probably one of the worst rooms in the game, casually and speedrunning-wise. There's a room with some red enemies that you have to kill in order to get the key. They do a ton of damage. They have way too much health. And it's basically impossible to get them together to deal damage to them multiple at a time.
This coming up is one of the rooms that really exemplifies what I really like about this game, and that is that there is a ton of different types of strats. Before I do that, because I don't feel like if I could die really easily, so I'm just going to set up a death warp point, which is any room with any room with a save relic in it. If I end up dying, I'll warp there. I take a lot of damage right now, and a couple of these screens I have died in runs.
Okay, so these are what I like to call pool party strats. You're kind of under-leveled at this point, so you can see all of his attacks are doing 1 damage, but if you just get them to take a swim in the poison lake here, that does tons of damage to them and kills them really easily. This room's kind of out the way to the side, but it contains a Claria ore, which, as we've mentioned before, any levels and weapon upgrades are absolutely essential because, like, 2 points of strength can mean, like, doubling your damage against bosses.
It becomes basically impossible to defeat bosses if you don't have all the Claria ore upgrades, especially at the end of the game.
This skip used to be a real pain in the neck, but with God Lunge, it's basically free. So we're going to take a little detour here.
And we're finally going to pick up a little bit of armor.
Yep.
Yeah, because we're still pretty much on starting armor other than that.
We're on Tier 1 boots and Tier 2 armor.
Tier 0, we haven't even picked up boots.
Oh, no, yeah, so you don't start with one in this game.
Yeah, just Tier 2 armor, which is barely better than Tier 1 armor. But
we're going to pick up Tier 5 boots here.
Yeah, basically there's 1 set of armor and boots for in every zone. Obviously increasing in stats.
Oh, shoot. I did not equip that.
Yeah.
The Tier 6 ones have like a special effect kind of buff to them, but we're not going to be getting those because they're a little bit out of the way. And one of them requires an extra Rotafruit actually to get from one of the roofs in the lighter areas.
So yeah, at this point, finally we'll be reducing the damage to more reasonable levels. Again, easy difficulty means you can get away with skipping armor for most of the run, and still be able to survive most encounters. But yeah, this is where it starts to get overwhelming. So
yeah, most East games and I think all the East games on Steam, all the speedruns will get very minimal armor in the beginning, and we'll pick up like the Tier 5 armor is typically the most common one to end up picking up towards the end of the game.
And this room just really feels nice because you go up like 4 levels, I think it is. There's just a lot of levels going on here. A kind of small caveat to leveling up, and also what's kind of nice, and you don't always have to be as afraid of things, is you do get a full HP restore from every single level up. So if you do kind of find yourself on low HP, but you are quite near a level, we can just keep going, and it kind of mitigates the need to go and heal sometimes. It's quite nice.
But yeah, the frequency of level ups, I think, kind of, demonstrates how underleveled we are at this point in the run, because we just catapult up levels. The game actually gives you bonus experience if you kill enemies that are significantly higher level than you, so there's a lot of that in play, too.
Plus we have times 2 as well.
I should also point out there are no actual healing items in this game. As soon as you touch them on the ground, they heal you, is how it works. So you can't store healing items, and you can't heal during bosses.
Can you use toll when you use the boost though? Does that work?
You can.
Thunderclaw while on boost does drain a little bit of HP, but it's generally pretty negligible.
Yeah, so this trick, I'm going to focus here because this is really precise, and I've never gotten this in a marathon. I get 1 shot at it. So close. You can jump over the trigger here. It's really difficult to do so. So this is a big...
Fortunately, the boss is pretty short. So.
Yeah, this is a big old bug. Rawr.
Let's just pick the most.
I discovered the trick to skipping him around the same time that another runner by the name of Felvisage found it. Although I ended up reporting it first. So take joint credit on that one. And
this skip is possible on all characters as well, right?
Yeah, Hugo has the hardest. World record for Hugo normal any percent, I think, has got it like his third try. Which shoutouts to Dragon Dark, a GDQ attendee who picked up this game and was the first person to actually submit Hugo to the leaderboards on the English leaderboards. Wow, I'm really low on health. And we all called him crazy, but this is a man who runs games like Draken for the Super Nintendo, so I think we all knew this.
So just a quick thing as well, this boss also has the kind of healing properties where when there are mobs on the floor, you can he can heal, so you want to kind of like just get him down in like one small heal zone and then finish him off.
Unfortunately, it's basically impossible not to have him heal.
Yeah, there are some ways in like other categories and such to actually kill him completely before he even lets out those extra mobs and, you know, skip the heal cycle altogether, but in this category it's not really viable.
So we have about a 3.5 minute long cutscene here. I should note that it is slightly faster to mash through cutscenes even when you're holding down the jump button. Lost V again found this and found like this cutscene you can save up to about 2 seconds. But what's basically going to go down here is we're going to talk to Rhea again, and then bad stuff is going to happen. You can probably piece together just by the animation. So feel free to read a couple more donations.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, Shawnee7188 donated $30. Greetings from Canada. Donated to finally get Ghost King Senpai to notice me, and this donation goes to his choice. But thanks for all the support and helping me learn to speedrun. And shout outs to Custom Robo BR speedrunning crew. Love you all. We love Robo Battles.
Thank you, Shawnee.
And Sandarkin donated $10. As a huge fan of Nyan Falcom games, I am super excited to see a Ease title at a GDQ event. Many thanks to Ghost King, all the GDQ staff, and the tech crew for making this happen and putting on a great event. And Maddie donated $30. I had to donate during the Ease run, one of my all-time favorite games. Glad to see it crushed.
As a quick note, in a previous cutscene, Dallas, the Dark Sorcerer over there, basically came up and tempted our naive little brother with a lot of power, and he bought it like the sucker that he is. So now he is attacking us with enhanced dark magic, and if you thought his boss fight was annoying, he's especially annoying in this cutscene when our ability to use the to actually control our character is not there. And they take the goddess who does not teleport away. I don't know why.
Even the power of our red text can't save us from this beatdown.
We still got a bit to go. Feel free to read off any more donations or
yeah, definitely. Alrighty, well, Argot Lamb 160 donated $25. I was trying to put together an SNES Ease 3 speedrun, so it's nice to see the Ease game getting some love. Hope to bring one of the classics next year. I call first dibs. This goes to Ghost Choice.
Yeah, so thankfully, in stereotypical evil cackling villain fashion, he's like, I'm not gonna kill you. It's gonna be way more fun to just watch you struggle to and crawl up with your broken body. And it's like,
we're broken in a different way. Let's put it that way. So Shion, the man that we in an alternate dimension, let's just say, got into a battle and nearly killed, decides to come in and cure us because now we've reached rock bottom. Our woman is taken, the bad guys have the black pearl, and we just decided we want to be good guys again. So he gives you this Lila shell, which is allows you to contact the these other characters. On other on Unica or Hugo's story, it lets you talk to NPCs to give you an idea for directions. But by the time you've unlocked Toll, you kind of know how to play this game already. So it's just a nice gesture.
And yeah, so now we're heading into the final area of the game, the demonic core.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot more NPC type bosses in this area, and you're gonna notice just like how Ghost King can use boost, a lot of the NPC bosses will also have like a boost phase which activates about halfway through their health bar, and they'll get similar effects. They'll take a lot of reduced damage.
So, going to be doing a little bit of grinding along the way. Those little purple slimes are an excellent source of experience. Not only do they give a decent amount of experience on their own, but they have a tendency to split into multiple slimes.
Yeah, the purple ones tend to split a lot, which makes them really good for grinding a lot of experience at once.
I actually tend to, I actually should be ignoring them. I only want to fight the wave at the very end. So we're going to take a little detour here from the normal route. It's a little hard to make this jump, but this is where we will unlock the burst, which the description for it listed it as a Kamehameha. I compare it because that's the most obvious Dragon Ball reference, but if you're a little bit more into Dragon Ball, it's a bit more like a, what do you call it, Bowie?
A Gallic gun.
Thank you for that.
Sorry, it's okay. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's got a purple beam and it's a bit more ferocious than just a regular kind of like line beam that, you know, the Kamehameha tends to be.
I mean, this game is anime enough.
Yeah.
Let's make it more anime.
So, of course, when we do cast it to show it off, we do have a duty
to
the viewers.
We have to say the thing, right? I don't even know what this is for, but I'll say it anyway.
All right, I'll give you the countdown.
What, are we doing G or Gallic?
So, okay, yeah, despite the boot pickup in the earlier zone, we're still taking a little bit more damage than we like. So, grab this, the best armor in the game, going up from tier 1 to tier 6 body armor. Now, pretty much everything does laughably low damage again, because, you know, again, combination of having up-to-date gear and it being easy difficulty where everything's pretty low damage.
Yeah, this fight, if you're not careful on EX, can still kill you at 260. It's hilarious, actually. He can kill you fairly easy at 278, and I have had many PBs in the early days of me running this game, which was about 2 months ago.
So I should
running
know.
this
So
category,
cool guy
I
finally gets some camera time and tries to fight us.
Yeah, Kishkol's last effort to be relevant to the storyline right here.
Yeah, so if you do this at 278, there's a very real possibility he will kill you. If you do this at 284, you can face tank him.
Just to specify, when Ghost is mentioning 278 to 284, he's talking about the health value because rather than level number, because it's easier to know what level you are based on your HP value rather than your actual level, because it's not available on the
it's not actually listed on the screen. Like
it's only in the pause menu, which incidentally you can't even access during boss fights. So you really, if you're playing this, you want to make sure you have everything you want equipped before you go into a boss fight, because you can't change it.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
G-Fire! Anyone who watched RPG Limit Break 2016, you will get the reference. Ghost Wheel did a very good Radiant Historia run.
I love that game.
Yeah, it's very good. Okay.
Unfortunately, due to so much of the sound effects, you don't get to hear the really awesome boss music that you get in this area when you fight all the NPC bosses.
We'll get that in the next fight.
Yeah, this boss can be kind of annoying and just like leave these icicles up all over the arena that'll knock you down if you walk into them. But still, generally, you just kind of, as we're seeing right here, Ghost King just kind of walking right into him.
Nice finish.
Kishkol tries to do a lot of crowd control, but he forgets that crowd control is not a solo strat. So.
It does make this fight very annoying on Nightmare. If I had to pick one boss fight that gave me a lot of trouble on Nightmare, it was this one.
Ice bosses are always a pain on Nightmare.
I think I just tried a speedrun on Nightmare just to see how it would go, and I think I spent like 4 hours on this fight. It's pretty rough on Nightmare.
So we acquired the Rod, which is very
descriptive name, isn't it?
Very descriptive. It's a reference to East 1, which is, again, you get an item called Rod because this was like a 1987 RPG. And it lets you go through mirrors, which we need to progress through the story. So Kishkol is going to try and attack us because Toll just says, I'm a human, I don't need to kill you. And Kishkol gets really upset. So, yeah, she can kind of do this.
Phoenix Flyer.
That was so unenthusiastic.
Unica's really cool, I will just say. She's really awesome.
Yeah, she gets a sword that shoots phoenixes.
Hey, look,
what more could you ask for?
Who's that character second on the left?
I don't know. Tsuki, if you're watching this, who is that character and what's he doing alive?
He hasn't died yet at the other story.
Spoilers. just I will note that what they're referencing is actually a really, really good cutscene in Unica's story, and it kind of like is the start of perhaps the most like emotional kind of thing in this game. And when we're talking about how great the soundtrack in this game is. The final area just after what our next area is going to be the Hall of Reflection. The final area, we kind of go back into the demonic core, has this track called Beyond the Beginning, which is a fantastic, fantastic track. I cannot specify, I cannot stress just how brilliant it is. But after the cutscene in which Roy and Unica have a little bit of a heart-to-heart, that music starts, and it was at that point at 3 in the morning when I was like, I'll just do this last boss fight and go to bed. That music kicked in, and I was like, I'm not finishing until I complete this game. And so it really was amazing.
That's pretty reasonable.
Thankfully, Ghost managed to avoid getting hit by those like kind of dancer enemies in the previous area.
Yeah, already clipped into the wall.
Ooh, nice. That was good.
First time as well, yeah.
It took a little while to set up.
But
I found that one by accident on stream, and then Telly Yenis found a consistent strat, which I found my own setup for, but he found out a consistent way to do it, which again, corners you can.
I believe that is only possible again in EX mode as well.
No, it's possible in any
really?
either Toll run.
I thought it needed God Lunge,
but God Lunge is not exclusive to Toll EX. Actually, you can do it with either. That was found by Lost V, and we were just like, how do we not figure this out? That this is the fastest form of movement. So I'm gonna do this not because I have to, but because I think it's funny. Not the running into the side there. There we go. I hope they got it.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's attempting to activate the invulnerability glitch.
Yeah, so what Spoody was alluding to earlier with the Shion fight is if you enter a fight, certain fights with Godspeed at the right position, Toll will have that brief moment of no hit detection when he enters the fight. And what this means is, so long as we don't use Godspeed, we cannot take any form of damage. This fight's a little weird because you can actually regain hit detection, and we don't really go for it in runs because ideally you never get stuck and you're just constantly wailing on Zava for this entire boss fight.
Yeah, so Zava is quite interesting. So she will basically summon right now these two massive heads, one of fire property, one of ice property. So they'll be like moving around the battlefield and the arena, kind of like trying to aggro you and annoy you, and you'll be kind of like focusing your attacks on Zava. At some point when you do enough damage, you'll basically go into one of the two heads and then swap between the two, and the one that she's in is the one you want to hit.
Hey,
so
it's Bowie's face in the morning.
Brilliant, cheers. It's close
Hey,
enough.
that was your joke, not mine.
It's close. I think I said that at one point, yeah. So yeah, you want to basically wail on her as much as possible, bring her down by using an aerial attack, and again, just hammering away. And then at this point, well, when you do a bit more damage, I believe it's like 25% again, she'll go inside one of the heads, like so. And then you want to attack that one, and then it will basically switch to the other one at certain points. And you want to switch between the two, deal enough damage to bring her back out, and then, you know, deal some more damage, and then she'll go back in.
Yeah, so you see those little floating orbs around the head.
You want to keep her from getting up right there.
Yeah, there was decent RNG on that on the head phase there. Sometimes the heads just kind of move randomly, so sometimes they'll be on the complete opposite sides of the arena from each other, and you just have to spend like 2 seconds running back and forth between the heads.
I have neglected to mention almost all of the bosses in this game are characters in East 1 or 2. So those two heads are in East 1, and they're one of the most annoying bosses. Again, fought in the Hall of Reflection because the tower in this game is the final dungeon of East 1, and it's about a third of the game.
Okay, I'll bring it up now. That this is the final cutscene before Beyond the Beginning, the final track.
So let's take a moment to be quiet because I really like that.
Yeah,
song.
it's a really, really great theme.
Yeah, as far as the next area is concerned, there's not a whole lot to talk about. It's mostly just running through some areas. There's some new enemies that have this annoying like black hole property attack that they'll pull you in and slow you down. There's some enemies that drop slippery blood, which you can Godspeed onto to get kind of a speed boost. But
I'd love to be able to one-hit those enemies.
So this is the one of the knights who have basically been trying to make their way up the tower to save the goddesses on the good side of the narrative.
He's actually the first boss that we skipped.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Don't even see him until this cutscene.
Yeah. So now they're going to help Demon Toll, who's now obviously decided to be a goodie.
So they're gonna stall for time, and we're gonna just kind of be all cool like and just jump over her. Also cool music. Be quiet here for just a moment. apologize for the thunder cracking. It's just kind of a necessity with God Lunge. All right, I got the slide.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah.
So going a little out of his way here to hit this button. It's possible to clear that gap without those platforms, but it's really difficult without the Inferno skill, which, you know, we skipped back in Guilty Fire.
So again, getting the corner jump as well to get that extra height, just to kind of get up that ledge really quickly rather than going round and up.
Yeah, otherwise you got to go like to the left and through this whole other sequence where you got to push another button to activate a platform, and it's slow.
This next room had one of the more interesting skips of the early route of the game. Since we don't kill these guys because we can just bypass the barrier, we have a different way of going about it, but I think it's one of the funnier and jankier skips in the game. So it turns out they didn't really program much behind this wall, but you can get behind it. And, okay, this is going to be the slower strat.
Yeah, you can clip directly behind the door from that other position. There we go.
Nice.
So we're going to activate the invulnerability glitch here. This is the one other instance where we consistently want to do this, along with the Xion fight. Again, the Zava fight is not necessary. I found that one by accident, doing exactly what Spoody did, just God speeding into the cutscene and just being like, wait, I didn't take any damage that fight.
Yeah, that was it was complete accident. Like when Xion, we were running I was running non-EX set, which you have to fight Xion in, and I'm just fighting him normally, and I'm like, I feel like I should have taken damage there. Maybe the hitboxes are just smaller than I thought. And then like right near the end of the fight, I full on like face tank a hit and nothing happens. And I'm like, okay,
that works.
So how was I just like I was invulnerable for that fight? What did I do?
So this fight is sweet, sweet catharsis. There's no other word for it.
Yeah, Hugo won being one of the biggest jerks in the run earlier on, and now you're just invincible.
One of the hardest fights to learn to run with this game.
So you just rush in and wail on him. You don't have to care for any of this, this bullet hell going on.
Just a little interesting lore thing. You'll notice that Hugo uses a lot of magic type attacks. The Fact family is actually a very powerful magician family, and Toll's kind of a little bit of an outcast because he's not like a magic. He doesn't have like an affinity for magic or anything like that.
Yeah, just an affinity for ignoring doors.
I was kind of hoping to stall there so I could get a full EX, but then I realized I was probably going to lose combo.
Yeah, you'll know we went from, what, 319 to 348.
Yeah, again,
HP
having max EXP combo during these bosses makes them...
4 levels, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game actually kind of encourages you to be really aggressive against bosses, because if you don't hit them for too long, then you drop your hit combo. And you're not going to be getting double experience off of them, which you do with a max hit combo. So it's, this fight is, especially with the invulnerability, it's very much just rush in and hit phase.
Yeah, I like this cutscene because it's kind of the first time when Hugo acknowledges that his older brother is his own person, because he thinks like his older brother is supposed to be, the successor to the family, and he abandoned that, and now Hugo's just like, why would you do this? And so this is the first time in years that instead of calling him a traitor or, like calling him by name, the first time he's called him brother. So this is the Goddess Ring. It's an important accessory that I need to remember to equip. And it gives me a little bit of strength and defense bonus, which will make the last few fights, like, if I equip it, the fights are almost... The difficulty in them is completing them fast, not completing them at all, per se. And without it, it can actually be a bit of a struggle. On other characters, it does different things. Like you get a late game accessory that gives you one full extra life.
But yeah, again, worth noting, that the stat calculations and like damage calculations in this game are a little wonky. If you saw it briefly on the stat screen, all it gives you is +5 strength and +5 defense, which seems pretty menial compared to the the huge amount of stats he's boasting at this late into the game at such a high level. But those 5 points of strength easily cut out like several minutes from these fights.
Another thing is the Goddess Ring actually has the same property as Ring of Ease. Yanis pointed this out to me once, and I was like, how did I never notice this?
I never noticed that either. That's
so this is Dallas. He, we betrayed him, so he took our women from us.
And we're finally, I think, for the first time, going to see Fina on screen.
Next fight, because unlike other characters,
Oh, it's not like I couldn't remember. I hadn't done this game in a
unlike
while,
other
so.
characters, Toll has 2 final bosses. Hence, he is actually the canon ending of the game. The other 2 characters have slightly different events in their stories.
Yeah, the extra final boss kind of makes up for the fact that he doesn't get a boss in Greta's Annex back in Silent Sands, which we skipped that area entirely, so you didn't even see the lack of boss. But
It's
yeah,
a cool boss fight too. Good music. Whirlwinds are cool.
So using what little magic power she has, because that barrier seals most of her magic power, she basically just gives Toll some words of encouragement. They can do a little bit to like teleport things through there, but he's just like, hey, I'm gonna use the Goddess Ring and break this barrier. So now we have a fairly annoying boss fight.
yeah. So this boss fight, you know, assumes that you have all 3 skills: the you know, the wind, the electric, and the fire. Godspeed, Thunderclaw, and Inferno in this case. But obviously, again, we skipped Inferno because the wind spell has fire properties. But the thing is, it doesn't do much damage. And phase 2 here, like he cycles through a few barriers. I believe it's first the wind barrier, then the fire barrier, then the electric barrier. And we can't really do much to break the fire barrier very quickly. So Ghost King here is going to be doing something to try and just bypass it altogether.
First phase is fairly
Very
straightforward,
easy.
though. Yeah, just kind of got a bullet
Hold
heavy
on,
way through it.
Tsushihime-sama.
Doing these jump attacks again because they do more damage, and then straight into the second phase. So here's the barriers. This is the Godspeed one. Just going through it, you can see the barrier HP go down, then the barrier just disappears.
You also see the boss HP now because he's actually getting through the barrier a little bit with his hits.
Yeah. So here's the fire one, and you'll see every now and then it will just say 72, or I think it's about 72.
Yeah, 71, 72 there.
That's basically where he's using the Godspeed attack to kind of go through, and basically I think this is EX specific as well.
Yes, I'm chaining my downward thrust to get a few extra hits, and that is the nicest he has been to me since I picked up this category.
Really
Yeah,
fast.
So we skipped the Thunder phase entirely. So we got one last phase, and this could be annoying. I need to watch out for this vortex that he spews out in front of me, because if he ends up hitting me with that, oh, he's not dead.
Oh,
I have to kill both these satellites first. If he ends up hitting me with that, it wastes like 10 to 15 seconds, and you just feel bad every time that happens. So this attack here, I need to not be caught in that.
And yeah, we saw a little bit of it earlier, but Dallas likes to just kind of float off the edge of the arena, and when he does that, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You just kind of got to wait for him to come back.
Yeah,
that
other
was
characters
actually,
you can get a little bit of damage if they have a bit of range. But
that was actually really scary. I was a little scared for Ghosting there.
This is... I got stuck. I got stuck.
So here's this animation that wastes so much time.
Too much swag.
He was really close earlier to like sliding into it. The portal has a really long active hitbox, way longer than you'd think it would be, and he was kind of playing around the edge of it.
All right, he's doing the laser attack, and I can't hit the satellite.
Yeah,
So-
again, Dallas likes to just kind of float over the edge. His satellites do the same too sometimes, but this should be it.
All right, so that's the first of 2 final boss fights, and this is the longest cutscene in the game. I am very glad that we have as many cutscene skips as we do, because they do start to wear on you a little bit after you run this game hundreds of times.
Yeah, once again, if you think there are a lot of like obnoxiously long anime cutscenes here, this is way better than it was when I ran the game. Like, you know,
Yeah.
after they declined the game and said, you know, too much anime, the scientists spent a lot of time in the lab and found a way to produce this run with approximately 20% less anime. And yeah, GDQ gave us the go-ahead to run it then.
I don't remember if that happens every time, but I think you actually did get a level off of Dallas there.
Yeah, that'll be helpful in the next fight. So the next
Just
fight
barely.
is this is a character who they've alluded to a couple times in the story. We haven't touched on him. Bump, bump, bump. It is Toll's father,
Yes.
who is the head of House Fact, and he's been manipulating everything behind the scenes. So he just impales Dallas here with great prejudice.
Dignified man.
Dignified.
Toll, I am your father.
So yeah, it's a pretty long, you know, exposition here where you know, he just talks about how evil he is basically, and how he's gonna obtain true demonic power or whatever. And it's pretty long-winded. You can probably read a couple donations.
He wants to be the Pirate of the Caribbean. What's wrong with that? Sorry, that joke is dumb. I should have retired that a long time ago. Alrighty, you can feel free to go ahead and read some donations.
Cool. So we've got Telejanus donated $200. No Burst, go for sub 120 Ghost.
Close.
That one was met, I think, a couple days ago.
And Bishop Cruz donated $10. Great to see an ease game here at GDQ. Rocking tunes and great action make this my favorite action RPG series. Looking forward to seeing you smash Dharm. One question though, why do you run easy instead of, say, Inferno? Donation goes to Couch's Choice.
Well, Inferno is a different difficulty setting for East 6. To put it simply, different difficulties only really up until Nightmare, they only really escalate in the amount of combat you need to do to grind. And while some people do run higher difficulties, the general any percent we do is easy. The higher difficulties, they really only add a little bit of extra grind time, and
they had some boss patterns too.
Yeah, some slight boss pattern changes.
Slight correction: Inferno is actually in Felghana, not Arc.
That's right. My bad. Sorry, go ahead and continue.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Xynosaur donated $10. The usual line, long-time viewer, first-time donator. I started streaming casual playthroughs of all the Ease games to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the first game, which was June 21st, and this $10 came from donations of my followers. Ease is totally my favorite series of all time, and I'm so hyped to see the origin in a GDQ. I want to give some shout-outs to Nopslides, Shaitan, and Mel's for all the help they give me for my channel. Oh, and of course, kill the animals.
So this is the first time we see Fina's model in the entire game, and then a orchestrated version of Beyond the Beginning starts playing.
And she basically, just gives him this sword, which gives him the idea to give this dramatic speech about the power of cooperation and friendship, and that grants him the power to smash through the fact shield magic.
The power of friendship.
It gives us the power to defeat Kane Fac's red text.
Anime.
Do we get white text?
Yes.
White
We
do.
text.
So the Silver Sword is a reference to East 1, which you need the Silver Sword to beat the final boss, even though it is not actually the strongest sword in the game. I'll go ahead and read one more donation. We got cutscene.
Yep, Kragon donated $20. Ease Origin has always been a favorite game of all time. Glad to see a run. I'm very disappointed you're not running Nightmare with Felghana Odol, but you're doing great. Hope to see Oath and Felghana next year.
So quick explanation of this upcoming fight. The entire first, 80% of the fight is basically a giant shell game. He has 3 segments, 2 arms and a chest, and the Black Pearl is going to be hidden randomly in one of those 3 segments. Other than the very first part, it's always in the chest, but after that, it's it's anybody's guess. So hopefully, we'll get good luck. It'll be the first body part he chooses to break each phase.
I love this theme. So I'm combo canceling here not because I need to for damage. Silver Sword in this game spews out a bunch of these light spears, but the main reason I'm doing it, well, I don't need to anymore, but the main reason I normally do it is because it builds up combo faster. I have not taken a lot of damage, so my combo regenerates fairly slowly, which is why I go off the screen here to take a few points of damage. Later game bosses in this game are fairly easy, but even on Nightmare I did not find this fight hard, which came as a surprise to a fellow stream watch, or a guy who watches my stream a lot by the name of Delphi. He was like, wait, I spent months on this. Part of it, I think, was I tried Nightmare after I started speedrunning this game. I still beat it, standard, but this fight has a few ways you can abuse it with boost.
Yeah, you also notice that when he's in between here, the ground rearranges at certain points on Dharm's health bar. So you end up kind of falling off the floor anyway.
This is not doing anything, but it looks really cool.
Spin to win.
Gotta be like our own impression
so
of a
there's
lighthouse.
some bad luck there. He broke the one arm in the chest, and no Black Pearl.
And this is the worst. This is the worst of the 3 forms. A good run of this game, you never get this form for Total EX.
So yeah, basically, just break the Pearl open. He goes dormant, and you just wail on it for a while, and then he'll shift to another random form.
Yeah, and you'll note there was even like a damage cap. Like his health bar actually goes back up because the game is forcing you to go through X number of phases.
Yeah, then it just shifts randomly. Like it'll change to a different color from the the last cycle, but it shifts randomly between yellow, red, and black. And yeah, the black one is the one you don't want to see. But oh, good luck there. Yeah, first body part had the pearl, and now we're going to go on to the final phase.
And
So he's
now that we've actually got
health.
it at 0 health, and he's just going to be alive again for no reason.
So you can actually start attacking this phase right
that
away,
was
unlike
close.
the previous phases.
You can actually break this shield that he makes with his tentacles, and then just start wailing on him before he starts making it like almost impossible.
Time's going to be up very soon,
Yeah,
by the
time's
way.
gonna
As
be,
soon as
the
he
white
hits
flash.
0 on the health bar, basically.
Alrighty. Well, people paid some pretty good money, and I don't think I'm on PB base anymore, so let's take some hits.
Oh,
Confirm
yeah,
you
okay,
are
yeah,
not
well-
on PB phase.
Wait,
My
are we going to
PB is
go
a-
for it?
My PB is a 120-10.
Yeah, you're.
I gotta finish this. I gotta finish this in style.
Pure style. I agree.
Don't
There's
miss this time like you did in practice.
Oh, I
Okay,
have to
here we
remind you
go.
that.
Time for it.
I
You
missed.
missed!
No, there it is.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, the hitboxes on that fight.
Time.
It's pretty. Yeah, time.
Time. The hitboxes in that fight can be pretty weird.
Raw.
Red text.
We don't need your damn red text anymore.
What do you mean, sir?
Just a nice little. So we've been talking about the red text a lot. The interesting for all you people who like lore out there. If you notice when Ghost King was talking to the Ruse, it kind of talks in like these little like runic text. As Toll, if you speak to a Rue while in boost form, like the demon form, you actually get like an English subtext. So you get a little bit of extra little flavor text there if you want to see something extra that we've never seen in the speedrun.
Yeah, so this next cutscene takes like 6 minutes, and we're already basically done here. What ends up happening, well, you can play the game to find out, but it's basically the resolution of the story that carries over into East 1, and yeah, it goes from there. There's a lot of great games in this series. I think this game is fantastic. Pick it up if you haven't already. It's on Steam sales a lot for like $6. Because it's been around for a few years. So we have vanquished our father and banished him to the Pearl of Dark Power and rendered ourselves
Banished to the Shadow Realm.
and sleep time. Alrighty, thank you everybody for watching. We won't go through the rest of this cutscene. It's very long.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, cheers, thank you.
Alrighty, and before you guys run away, we had an anonymous $10 donation. Shout out to Spoody Biscuit and the donation to his choice. I really enjoyed the commentary. Keep being awesome, you all, and of course the obligatory greetings from Germany. Rabbit Biscuit donated $10. Just experienced a magnitude 5.8 earthquake while sitting here watching SGDQ. Won't be going to sleep anytime soon. I guess the answer is more SGDQ. Keep up the good work. You folks inspire me. Colin147 donated $5. Huge fan of the E series. E's origin is one of my favorite, right behind Celtita. Donating to show my support. Keep up the great work.